Hello, everyone. I'm with Samantha Mant, editor of Art Gaze magazine and naturopath. I call her the punk rock witchy naturopath. She's my punk rock witchy naturopath and blogger. She's very creative, and I'm very excited to have her as our final speaker for the Singularity Storytelling Summit. So thank you, Sam, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me here.
So tell me a little bit about your journey into becoming a naturopath and then also becoming the editor of Art Gaze magazine.
Well, my journey to becoming a naturopath probably started when I was 10 years old, and I'd been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when I was about 5. So I'd had a lot of challenges with the medical system, and my mom took me to a naturopath who really helped me sort of overcome the challenges that I was having with a lot of trialed medications and things like that. So I think I just really gelled with the way natural medicine worked with your body rather than sort of suppressing symptoms and things like that. And that's not to say that one medicine is better than the other. I think that they both have their place, but that was just what I really needed at the time. And yeah, so when I was 15, I was like, well, I'm a naturopath, so I left school and started studying natural medicine.
And then that led you now to your journey, becoming the naturopath and being the naturopath. And then how did you merge into art but still honoring your naturopathic tendencies?
Well, I guess I've always been interested in art. And when I was supposed to be studying, I would be just scribbling in my notebooks, drawing things instead. But I think it was through my writing that a friend of mine, Jeanette Hutchinson, who runs Art Gaze, she was like, oh, you should write some articles for Art Gaze. We really like your writing. And then just from those 2 conversations, she was kind of like, well, why don't you just take over and be the editor of the magazine? And I was like, what? Never would I have thought that would have ever happened. But I'm really glad it did. It's been a really cool journey. And I think that only happened in March. So it's been restoring the magazine, which has been on a hiatus for a few years. So myself and the team there at Art Gaze, which is really an awesome team, we're establishing this magazine again, and it's been so much fun. Ooh. So go send us submissions at artgazemagazine.com.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Sam is always accepting submissions for Art Gaze magazine. And since you have been involved in now artistic endeavors and organizing the magazine and also studying natural medicine and holistic health, how are you using art to merge these two? Because I know you like to focus on women's health. How is art related to women's health?
Well, I think art's just a wonderful platform for women to voice themselves and express themselves. I don't think we really get much of a space to do that in regular society. So it seems that, online especially, there are so many women entrepreneurs and artists and creatives. And I'm really excited to be able to connect with a lot of women and give them a space there and a platform to communicate. And I think, obviously, once you talk about something, that's half of the healing done. So sharing a story and sharing a journey is really a huge important step in resolving either, I don't know, maybe past things or the healing that you want to take. So yeah, art is always healing, and we're all artists.
It's true, yes. And when you're working with clients, because now technically you're, what's the name of your website for your naturopathic practice?
The Holistic Branch.
Yes. How are you integrating both the Art Gaze magazine and Holistic Branch when you're working at Art Gaze, or when you're taking on clients, when you're doing sessions with clients?
Really, I just sort of direct them to share their story through Art Gaze with whatever they want to do. But I think my natural medicine kind of, when I'm working with clients there, it's usually I'm just writing about it at the moment. My one-on-one clients are sort of private. I don't really advertise it through my website. Maybe in the future though.
Mm-hmm. But I know on the Holistic branch, you have quite a few articles and things, and I love your spin on things, because when I first connected with Samantha, she was, I was super attracted to her brand, but she wasn't even aware that she had a brand. But she was, because she had the red hair, and there was some pink, and there was some black, and there was some witchy things. So it was like punk rock, but very femme. So I really, really loved her brand, and then we started connecting, and I found out that she was a naturopath. So I see that, you know, that when I go to your website, I'm excited to learn about your spin on natural medicine. And there was one article I think you posted. It was about ancient gods or myths in the seasons.
Yeah.
So tell us about your writing process, because you have so much information that you've studied over the last years in your experience. How are you integrating all that you've learned into now text-based?
Well, I try to keep everything as holistic as I can, because I'm really into helping people sort of realize that we all have like that holistic blueprint, like physically, mentally, emotionally, everything interacts. So when I'm writing a piece, I really try to take that into account. So it's not like, here's 6 diet tips for blah, blah, blah. It's like, these are the diet tips for this condition, but this is also how mentally you might be feeling, and these are the steps you can take to sort of treat the mind and then help soothe the emotions. Or it could be, these are the emotional traumas that are behind these diseases or dis-ease. And so that's where I try to structure it from, is that holistic space. And then also, because it's just me, you know, everything gets a bit of a spiritual twist or a witchy twist or a god and goddess mythos twist. So
Yes, and that's why I love reading your writing. And if people were interested in connecting or collaborating or learning more from you, where can they connect with you? But also any other resources that you have that have helped you on your journey with combining art with holistic health?
Well, they can find me at theholisticbranch.com, and there I have a free ebook that is structured towards helping skin issues and increasing your energy, but it's really about nature cure. So there's a huge spin-off rather than it just being energy and skin conditions. But nature cure is a real foundation of naturopathy, in that it's just using, you know, sunlight, good food, good water, so anyone can use it, and it's relatively cheap. Like, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. And also artgazemagazine.com is where we take submissions for artists and help promote artists as well. And yeah, I'm also writing an ebook on women's health, which should be available later in the year, which is exciting.
Yes, and when you were on your journey, or when you were learning about all these new things, do you have any words of wisdom for somebody that is interested in holistic health, but they're also interested in art, but they're also interested in spirituality and, you know, God and goddess mythos, and they're kind of like, which path should I choose? Do you have any wisdom for those people?
I don't know. I think really just listening to your inner guidance is what matters, because naturally what works for someone else isn't necessarily going to work for you. So even though I'm sharing so much information, there might be only a snippet that really speaks to someone. So I think resources really need to come from many different places and different inspirations. But yeah, whatever interests you, go with that.
I love this so much, because that's basically it. When you're sharing your story, or when you're sharing content online, is it coming from, you know, because you're still developing your story and it's still an evolving process, like for all of us. But when you're sharing your story about, rheumatoid arthritis at 5 years old and sharing that with us to let us know that spurred this inspiration to become a naturopath, how is it sharing that story online and on your blog and with people?
How is it sharing, as in, how does it feel to that, or,
Yeah.
or like, how do I do it?
How do you, both?
Well, I'm just sort of dropping little snippets at a time, because I think obviously writing my whole life story out at once would just be like an epic read. So
yeah,
I go with whatever I think I need to reveal at a certain time that I think is going to help my message in whatever it is I'm specifically doing. So even in the articles that I write, I'll relate it to something in my life. I think that makes it a bit more interesting when people can see like there's a relationship between what you're doing as well. It's also, it is quite nerve-wracking. Like, I don't always want to share a whole lot about myself. I can be quite reserved, but I have you to thank for that though, Isabel. Like, you're very good at like motivating people to like sort of come out of their shell a bit more and be like, no, you need to write about that. You need to talk about it really loudly, like really loud.
yes.
Yeah, that's your thing. That's why I found you. But yeah, so I think as time goes on, I'll just sort of like increase a bit more of like what I'm telling people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you touched on a really good thing of when you're writing something, because you're a synthesizer too, where you're combining all these multi-passionate interests and knowledge and creativity. And when it's the right time, then you infuse your story into it. You don't have to force your story out.
Yeah, true. No one likes to be full.
No.
No one wants to too much.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and for being part of the Singularity Circle and for opening up and evolving into the editor of Art Gaze and the naturopath that you are, and witnessing that for me is always fun. And of course, any final words before we finish up the Singularity Storytelling Summit? You're the roundabout.
I'm the last one. Oh my goodness. I don't know, that's a lot of pressure. What should I say? I don't really have anything else to add to that. I think we covered everything really well. Yeah, thank you for having me be part of this summit. It was so good. And I can't wait to watch everyone's replays.
Yes.
Because everything happened while I was asleep. So now I can watch everyone's talks.
Yes. And this is, I think, the amazing part of today is everyone is so different. Everyone has their own unique, how Jesse Frey was talking about in the first talk. Like, everybody's a filter of information, but no filter is the same. So you have your own filter of sharing things. Everyone in the circle has their own filter of sharing things. And we may have similar roots, like talking about spirituality, talking about self-expression, talking about health. But we all have our own way and story of doing that. So thank you again so much, Sam, for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing everyone that hasn't, if you're a replay viewer, thanks for watching the Singularity Storytelling Summit speakers. That's the birds that are really hungry. And I will see you all online. Bye.
Bye.